Hello and welcome to our most recent entry. Hey, hello. How are you doing? What's going on? This channel is as an aggregator. Wait. Change the audio a little bit. Okay. So what are we up to? Right now, as you can see, this is the home screen of the channel as an aggregator. Actually, okay, so maybe let's start by doing a little bit of stream of consciousness. Recently we've been looking into playlist theory for content curators. Playlist theory? No, specifically playlist theory for content creators. As we build out our own channel, we think, well, wait, there's something to the experience of a content consumer as they navigate tricky. Yeah, there's something to the ability to be able to navigate a okay, you can't see the visualization, but what came to my mind was taking a look at specific channels from content creators and then seeing the stratigraphy. For some people, it's their store first. For some people, it's the members list. For some people, it's a video and then it just goes straight into their videos or maybe shorts. For some people, it's playlists. But I didn't realize you could do bundles of playlists as well. So that actually ended up turning out to be an interesting feat. Here, let's go and visit. This is our playlist archive channel, one of our first. So how we made an attempt to experiment with this was like, okay, so since we can do bundles of playlists, then we can include category specific playlists down here with their number and their iteration from earliest to most recent. We should probably switch that route, have it go the opposite way. Okay, yeah, we definitely gotta the music's a little bit stronger than I. Wait. Oh yeah, I think I solved that. We're still thinking about, okay, so how does it sound on live streaming? Okay, wait, that's way too loud. Is that better? Testing. We have like a 30 second delay. The perils of live streaming. ... We have like a 30 second delay. The perils of live streaming. ... Testing. Okay, but yeah, while we're troubleshooting this, we're just trying to pretty much sync our voice, like as we would be giving commentary to some background music. Because we were like, yo, let's use background music. That would be dope. But I can hear it, so it was kind of. It was becoming a little bit disconcerting because it was just too strong in my ear. I was like, yo, what is going on? Okay. Okay, so on volume master, I think we might do 40. Keep the YouTube volume at half. I think I'm actually sold on that. Okay, so where are we at? Let's add a time marker, right? Where are we at? Usually I get a time. Usually I get a time heuristic. Oh, okay, wait. We've been going live for 6 minutes. Okay, that's cool. Whoa. 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 Wow. Yeah, what does it mean to be a live streamer? Whew. Excuse me. Okay, so we started this saying, okay, so the channel, and then we were like, yo, music. So we like, okay, music a little bit, and then we're like, okay, like drop the beat, play it out, and then I'm like, okay, but wait, let's show kind of where our thoughts are at. I think we're gonna do some content around that idea. We're gonna comb through some of the channels that we are proponents of, or not proponents, but that we're subscribed to. And we're going to deploy in that capacity, or at least like reference. We're going to say, hey, these are some specific channels, and this is how they've been treating their channel stratigraphy. And then we're going to make an attempt to tie that into playlist theory for content creators, to give them a sense of the different type of templates, right? Like, imagine if this was just a single playlist instead of a bundle of playlists. Imagine if this was specifically videos. Imagine if we included a store, right? Like, and then going through all of those different channels and how different content creators sort of document that for themselves, and the benefits that we can ascribe to that as an experience based on our perceptions as a content consumer. Yeah, no, that was pretty good. So where are we at in this present moment? Well, specifically, we wanted to start off by jumping into playlists, right? Let's do that. Let's do a roundabout way. How to do that specifically? Well, we're saying, okay, we're at Thursday. Did we lose that playlist? We did. We lost the playlist. Okay, so now we have there we go. Okay, so we have Thursday. It's 2 days ago here. So we'll just double back. I wanted to kind of take this time to do this live because I'm like, wait, how often do we get this as a perception? To actually do a live stream of just live playlist curation. And it also trains me in terms of conditioning me, like what goes into the process of, being a content creator. Specifically, we're talking about playlist theory. For me, I'm displaying the technique that I've learned in terms of playlist theory as a content consumer. As a content consumer, there's endless content out here. Content we could never consume in one lifetime. But we can use playlists to narrow that and also to be able to capture it, to say, okay, well, if we do go back, can we actually reach back and consume some material from our subscription box, our consume digest, our content hypergraph. To that extent, we scrolled back. In the previous episode, we went through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for week 1 of Q2. Right now, this is mostly playlist theory for content curators. What are we doing? We're going through an ASAP transit playlist, and we had some information in the description. This is for week 1 of Q3, so we're actually still carrying over some of our playlists. We're still working on the ASAP playlists for this first week, so we still haven't even created the main playlists. And this is kind of what I wanted to process in the present moment, because we're about to lose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're about to lose 9 playlists and double back to Q3 of July. Why? Because we already have 4 playlists in rotation for ASAP transit playlists. Those playlists get deleted, but they also get created as quickly as they're deleted. They represent a temporal playlist. So each one of the transit playlists already represents one playlist that's going to be instantiated, but because the transit playlists are on like a weekly rotation, or whichever ones are curated before they're transferred from the transit playlist into the temporal playlist. I don't know if I'm describing the effect properly, but once we move these videos from the transit playlist to the new temporal playlist for the quarter, we're going to need 6 new playlists for that temporal playlist, for the Q3 playlist. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then also one playlist for the weekend. And then even though we delete our ASAP transit playlists each day after we structure the videos before we add them all to the main temporal playlist, those are still newly in circulation. Why are we bringing this up? To what extent is it relevant? Well, in terms of playlist theory for content curators, we get to kind of see in this moment, well, you only get 200 playlists visually. If I wanted to add videos to these playlists after I create the new playlist, I would have to go back into the studio and manually add the video there, and then that video would refresh the playlist into the top-down bucket of up here, and so it would still push out whichever ones have not been interacted with. So in many respects, this is kind of an origin story related to how we go about our titling schema process, whether that be in relation to category specific playlists, whether that be ASAP playlists just for a quarter, whether that be just random technical subject matter or esoteric subject matter or music, or just, random offshoots that are not category specific buckets that we continue for the long run, but very specific niche interests like maybe paramotoring, OpenAI and ChatGPT. Well, we do have like at that point it's almost a category specific. Yeah, our study long run quick pick, our crypto quick pick, that's a category specific as well. Doing a best of video for specific content creators that have shaped my consume digest over the years. Okay, so where are we at with this? Well, specifically what we were starting on today, and what I want to start with is building out Culture Commentary 5. Excuse me, Culture Commentary 6. So that was the meta contextual details for describing, okay, so wait, but like, we haven't, we're just starting Q3, so that's +6 playlists, and then we're also thinking about, and we're about to deploy Culture Commentary number 6. And this is interesting because we just started the most recent Culture Commentary 5 at the beginning of the year, Q1 of 2024. So we said to ourselves, well, it might be interesting if we could do a new Culture Commentary entry like once every 6 months. I like that as a baseline. So that's kind of where we're at with this. Why is it relevant? It's relevant because now we get to say, well, what goes into that? What's the thought process surrounding or behind what it takes, or our intent behind, you know, Culture Commentary itself? And that's why it's difficult for us, because we have to process this. Okay, so we're starting with this and we're saying, okay, so let's actually do this for Culture Commentary 5. This is a dynamic playlist, so let's start by date published oldest and get a sense. Okay, it's interesting. Yeah, when it comes to Culture Commentary, we think about it in terms of different technical grades, like technical grade Culture Commentary versus entertainment versus maybe a surface area that's not normally covered but it's relevant. So let's dip into our post-pause watch history. We haven't done a video on that yet, but we were thinking to ourselves about the role that we provide, that we offer as a content consumer, as a content curator, and now as a content creator. Thought to ourselves, yeah, this is what we do, content consumption, like, on a formal analysis of content, like, what are you consuming, why, what goes into that, how does that impact how you relate to the cybernetic ecology that you're within, the user interface, what does it mean for you to consume content, what content, why, all of these different things. And then we were thinking about it in terms of content consumers, right? Just transferring that journey for us as a content consumer and saying, okay, well, how do we share this as a reflection of technique? How do we share that with others? And then we thought, okay, but wait, what about the creators out there? Like, how do we include that as a form of coaching, in terms of coaching content creators about their consumers and what might go into transforming that content consumption experience to the extent that it can benefit them. So within that, I think we were consuming some content about social media, etc, and we thought to ourselves, because they mentioned, oh no, like the algos are too strong, they like, you'll get caught up, people don't even realize that, like, the algorithms are playing them. They're not really, it's not, you're not like conditioning the algo is conditioning you. And for me, as a relatively adept content consumer, I'm like, what? No, I definitely strive to make an attempt to condition my algo. But somewhere in how they frame the question, or the statement, or the frame of reference, made me think, but damn, what if the algo had already broken me? Like, what if I didn't have an orientation point based on my preconceived notions that I was orienting myself in a specific manner, in a specific capacity? So that meant a lot to me to think about that. And what I discovered while I was browsing in relation to that state was somebody had mentioned that you get a different technical surface area in terms of your consume digest based on pausing your watch history. And so I thought to myself, oh, that's interesting. Like, should I try that? Is that something that could assist me? And so that's the journey that I've been on for the past few weeks. I turned off my watch history and made an attempt to kind of navigate the cybernetic ecology from that perspective. And what's happened as a result, well, we're still processing it, and hopefully we can create a video related to that at a future date. But in the near term, this describes this playlist specifically. We created a new type of playlist iteration specifically to kind of make an attempt to represent our hypergraph, our consume digest based on videos that we've consumed. And so now we're starting here and we're saying, oh, okay, so what merits culture commentary? And because culture commentary is such a specific thing, it's a category specific playlist, we're going to include fractal derivative playlists titled in this context culture commentary 6A, 6B, 6C, and the differences and the similarities that go into what merits a video being in the main playlist that you're seeing now versus a fractal derivative playlist. What goes into that as a function of intent? And to this extent, that's what we're processing. So when we come back, we're gonna dive into choosing some videos that we think might be a best fit for the inclusion in Culture Commentary 6. And we're going to do the first 10 videos, maybe the first 20 videos, and then we're going to start creating fractal derivative playlists out of that. Okay, so I'll be right back. Hello and welcome back. Okay, so let's dive into it. Since we're starting with Q3, okay, so what merits a video that would be inputted into Culture Commentary 6? It should be something with technical weight that differentiates it from a temporal playlist. Hello and welcome back. Specifically, we're talking about. Wait. Into Culture Commentary 6. It should be something with technical weight that differentiates it from a temporal playlist. Specifically, we're talking about. Wait. Yeah, I personally, as a streamer, I'm losing the ball a little bit. I'm like, wait, which is the audio input for the? But okay, I digress. Yeah, I personally, as a streamer, I'm losing the ball a little bit. I'm like, wait, which is the? Aha, okay, I think I understand where we were at. Okay, so let's continue. Let's continue forth. In this moment, we're trying to figure out. Actually, okay, so yeah, this is playlist theory for content curators. As a content consumer, to the extent that you intend to deploy this as technique, you're pretty much just organizing your subscription box in terms of a temporal playlist, maybe just an ASAP playlist. Like you're going through your subscription box and you're adding videos and you're like, okay, I want to watch this later. I might not watch it later. Okay, let's manage that. In this context, we're going a step further by using ASAP Transit playlists to structure a dynamic playlist for our temporal playlist. So we have that as a frame of representation. We're talking about a temporal playlist. But now, so we're saying, okay, but we already know a video is being included in relation to a temporal playlist. So what merits either inclusion in both or inclusion in just one specific category? Like, we already have a separate ASAP Transit playlist. Excuse me, this is not an ASAP Transit playlist. This is our main bulk ASAP playlist for the quarter. ASAP 12.0. We added the point 0 this quarter because last quarter we included 11.2 or 11.1, 11.2, and 11.3. And those were for the weeks we took off doing the temporal playlists. So we included one of those ASAP playlists to help us manage our subscription box or videos that we wanted to consume for specifically a 2-week window. Okay, so let's carry forward. How do we figure out the bangers. And I guess for us, we did have some heavy hitters. This Joe Rogan episode with Eric Weinstein and Terrence Howard, that was pretty, like, that's culture commentary, right? 5.5 million views. Okay, so I guess you could look to the view count as a frame of reference. That's not a bad idea. Okay, but what else? What else? Let's refresh this and ask the question. Okay, but what else? Like, what else would be included? What else should be included? That's what we're thinking about. Yeah, let's change this to published oldest. No, published newest. Okay, so we went about 7 days ago. Oh, this one was a good one. It's about a collapse. Overshoot culture commentary. Yeah, I guess at this point, that really is the culture commentary, right? Like, when I think about myself as a content consumer, the time that I spent, for me, that's a pretty large surface area. Okay, I think I have it. We're going to start this out with this one. Because for me, in many respects, that was like my morning. That was a really interesting, like, start of the week. We caught some second order React culture commentary. And then people were, like, reacting to it. Specifically, we were consuming Corporeal Chaos. And they were like, yo, they just did a whole React video. And then this video came out before I even consumed the regular one. So I was like, whoa, this means it was waves. Waves. So it's always interesting when that happens. Okay, so next we saw this. Yeah, we have to include that Trump versus Biden. That was the 2024 first debate between President Biden and former President Donald J. Trump. That was an interesting interesting culture commentary. That was, I mean, we're still feeling reverberations. Will the President of the United States stay in the race? Will he make it to the election itself? Oh my goodness. Okay, scrolling. Wait. There's some aspect of culture commentary there. Where's that? There's like religious culture commentary. I think that we consumed like yesterday. Oh yeah, I think it was this one, but it was like really, this was like too deep into the weeds. Let's go to 5B. Yeah, actually, let's throw that in a 5A. We're still, this is like experimental technique in the context of an ASAP playlist being okay as soon as possible, and then okay, well, does that include filler kills? So it's like, okay, well, if you're moving this to a category specific or a temporal playlist, then it doesn't need to be an ASAP playlist, versus if you've already consumed it, then doesn't need to be an ASAP playlist, especially if it has other hypergraph edges within your overall consume digest. Something we kind of are making an attempt to track, but have yet to really concretize as a frame of reference. Okay, so let's actually, okay, so we did that. So, okay, so wait, let's go here and then actually select all, copy that, okay, now we're gonna have to clean this up. We'll fix that. Actually, just save that. Okay, what is culture commentary? Q3 2024. Yeah, we're gonna have to change that one in the other one, because I know we started that other one in Q1 of 2024. Interesting. But yeah, a work in progress in terms of technique, right? Like, I hope for you as a content consumer, to the extent that you're consuming this as content, you're taking this in as a frame of reference. What is this to you? What exactly is it that I'm doing right now? Well, for me as a content curator, I'm honing my craft. I'm saying playlist theory has been unique to me. It's been useful and it's been interesting to me in terms of keeping track of infinite content, finding a way to make an attempt to consume this content in a meaningful manner. But at this point, we're taking it a step further as a content creator and saying, okay, but how do we share this and to what extent? And before we even got to that point, we said, okay, but wait, as a consumer, I find this technique to be really useful, really interesting. Why? Because after spending so much of my time as a content consumer, we realized that we could be a content curator. And that, in many respects, is kind of the process that we're highlighting. We're saying, well, we assume that to be true and self-evident, the ability for people to be content curators. But what does that even mean? Does it even make sense? In what capacity, right? Like, okay, yeah, you curate content, but why? But how? But for who? And so that's kind of some of the questions that we attempt to look into and to solve and to figure out, to describe. Yeah, date added newest, no, date added oldest. Yeah, so let's actually change that. Date added oldest. Okay, so we have that, and then we said it seems like it would be interesting. This is culture commentary. Yeah, we're gonna include that as well. Okay, so where are we at in this process? We're scrolling through. This is a little bit too deep into the weeds to the extent that we would have to really qualify it in terms of culture commentary 6 as opposed to 5, 4, 3 or any other permutation. This we want it to really speak to a specific era. Okay, I think that makes sense. Let's include this one. Okay, that does make sense, but sometimes it's difficult in terms of technique. As a content curator, you really want to match the understanding with the practice. As a content creator, I'm like, wait, yo, this is taking up way too much time. But as a content curator, yeah, I'm like, wait, but how can we, like, what? Like, does it make sense? Have I wrapped my mind around this as a function, as an expression? And in many respects, I think I have. Oh yeah, we gotta add this. We gotta add that. Probably end up adding that later. Okay, so did we get everything from our ASAP playlist for the quarter? Any meta-contextual details? I don't know what's going into my conscious thought process about why I'm choosing specific videos, other than I feel it has specific impact, and it also weighs on me based on my consumed digest, like what things have had a specific technical weight for me, specifically because like I've spent so much time in terms of overshoot and climate culture commentary. I'm like, okay, I gotta add these. These were really impactful. But also on the politics front, I have to add these. But then in terms of culture commentary to like bridge natural science and esoteric culture commentary, specifically, I guess we'll throw these into our first derivative playlist. Probably gonna have to do that next. Probably, yeah. Yeah, I guess, yeah. We'll start, since we just started Culture Commentary 6, we'll do derivative playlists in our next live stream. Oh, wait, okay, so what else? What else? We do want to add this. This was wild too, but that feels like a derivative playlist entry. Oh, going way too back into the watch history. What about this one? Oh yeah, Jacques Ellul, we have to add that. What do we see now? Now I'm getting into like, as a content consumer, I'm like, wait, but what about the stratigraphy? I'm like, yo, do I put Jacques Ellul in it? But it's like we're also building a dynamic playlist, so it's like it's not that serious. But whenever I do the first 10 videos or so, I like to think about it in relation to the long haul. Okay, so wait, okay, we're including this. It's important, but it's also Bitcoin stuff. Manifesting synchronicity. Useful. Cyber Wars. Okay, yeah, let's bouncing out of that one. Okay, what about this one? Fifty 54 videos. Yeah, we're gonna have to clean that before it goes into the temporal playlist. We really try to keep it under 50 per day. Like, who has time? Nobody has time to, but I mean, it's not really about the time it takes to, because it's a temporal playlist, right? Like, leave it on the shelf for a few months or a few years, to the extent that it could be useful. We'll take that. Wait, gotta refresh this. This was interesting esoteric culture commentary. Especially in relation to how it relates to the question of psychological types. Is that the same guy, David Luke? Nah, a different person. We're looking at this one with DMT entities. Did we add this in the culture commentary? Natural Science 5. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you gotta add that to culture commentary 6. In terms of playlist theory for content curators, I saw the 3 hour and 15 minutes specifically for this I mean, in general, but specifically for this content creator. Like, that's when you see like a 3 hour plus video, I'm like, oh, that's a magnum opus. That's deep, and because it's about alcohol specifically, is that an entheogen? I don't. What's the name for that as an effect? But it's prime culture commentary when you think about what is it, like recreational usage of substances in general or specific. But this is specifically like a technical subject matter expert, so they're gonna really go into the details. This goes into an interesting consideration as a content curator. What do you actually know about your expectations regarding your consume digest, regarding your subscriptions? Can you look at a title? Can you look at a thumbnail? Can you look at how long the video is, maybe the view count, how long it's been published, and to what extent, what does that tell you in general or specific? And how can you match your expectations in relation to reality? If I clicked into the video and consumed the comments, what would change and what would be the same in relation to how we thought about that? Okay, so okay, yeah, this is when we add the esoteric content a little bit. This was a pretty good video. When pagan became Christian, why is the history missing slash cryptic? That's definitely an interesting point of culture commentary, especially with regards to how people think about and conceptualize quote unquote prehistory and the in between states with regards to, but wait, like, what what describes the effect of our expectations in relation to the global narrative, the common narrative, and then when Gobekli Tepe was discovered, and we were like, wait, but like, didn't that change up the timelines and stuff in relation to our expectations and how that's transpired? Because it was like, wait, how old? Oh, dang. And then we're like, oh, but that was created, but like the transition between hunter-gatherer and agrarian. I find it fascinating to kind of weigh those conceptualizations, and also the content creators that bring forth these very interesting questions. Oh, no, 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 no. Okay, so that's everything for there. And then we're gonna, oh yeah, we're an hour in and we have not started the rest of the playlists. So let's try to wrap this up. First 8 videos. I feel like I'm missing something. What did I miss? And again, yeah, I was gonna say if you saw anything, I was like, but yeah, some of these things we will probably double back to and include it in the fractal derivative playlist. I don't know if you saw that for this one. If you go in, you can see there's fractal derivative playlists. So for each playlist, if we take this and we go to the fractal derivative playlist, this is Culture Commentary 5A. So this is interesting in terms of playlist theory for your own personal records. At some point we realized that the velocity was just too high and we didn't want to create like 500 video plus category specific playlists. We figured if we could keep category specific playlists around 400 videos, that would be preferred. In our attempt to kind of deal with that, we invoked a derivative structure where we have the main playlist and then we also have 3 derivative playlists, A, B, and C. And so far we've been able to use that to allow for one specific category specific playlist per, like, 2 per year, so 1 every 6 months. And that's for our highest velocity playlist, which is the Culture Commentary series. So let us go back. Here we go. Okay, so what's missing? Oh, here we go. Yeah, had to add this. But wait, is that? Yeah. This might have to go into social science 5. Did we create that yet? No, we're gonna have to do that soon as well. Social science 4 is kind of filling up, but we try to add some, like, there's a lot of surface area for social science that includes like politics, social science in general, and then the question of psychological types, and then human relationships and mental health. So those are some really large buckets, and we haven't necessarily figured out the best way to approach that. Probably needs more than 3 derivative playlists, but we're still exploring that space. Okay, so as we wrap this up, yeah, and we have to add metacognition. That's so necessary. Perfect, and we have the first 10. Okay, so this was me going through this whole process of creating creating the next entry in our category specific playlists. And wow, it was interesting. So what did we learn? Well, you might have to figure that out for your own to the extent that you're actually consuming this as content. Leave a comment in the comments. It's kind of a weird temporal area where we just started kind of really creating content. So in many respects, I'm talking to myself, but I mean, this is the internet as a hypergraph reference, so it could also be talking to anyone depending on anyone's given degree of separation. So that's all. It's still a fascinating kind of middle ground. Like, oh yeah, hey, stream of consciousness thought. Oh hey, and then like, oh wow, a response. Oh yeah, oh hey, you guys. Oh, what did you guys think about that? So that's interesting. Okay, so we finished. What did we do? We finished setting up the initial beginnings of Culture Commentary 6. After we kind of decided to either retire, close out, or down-regulate Culture Commentary 5. Again, there's like less than 300 videos into this, so we might bifurcate that and even throw in Culture Commentary 4 videos. Again, we like to keep it flexible because it maintains this dynamic space as a reflection of our psyche. What merits why a video would go into a specific playlist, one playlist over another? What determines that? Why? In this context, we're going through and we're saying, okay, well, Culture Commentary is the apex of our category-specific playlists. What goes into that? And we kind of tried to talk through it, and we walked through it. And we kind of chose some selections, the top 10 selections so far of what's transpired over the past week. Things, really strong heavy hitters, anchors for Culture Commentary 6, and then we're going to use these anchors to further project into the fractal derivative playlists for Culture Commentary 6. So that is all for right now, and when we return, we're going to crack into temporal playlists for our subscription box, working on Thursday, Friday, and weekend 1. And yeah, we're probably gonna pause there, and then in the next entry, we're gonna either organize the content from our ASAP playlists and then document the transfer to the temporal playlists as we create them for the specific quarter, Q3 of 2024. And yeah, we're trying to figure out, because we have to organize them, so we're like, yo, do we organize it? And then we're like, nah, let's organize that in the next video. So yeah, until we return. Hello and welcome back. You know what? You know what we need? You know what we need? We need a timer. We need an arbitrary 5-minute timer on that intermission. But okay, so where are we at with this? What's going on? Now we're jumping back into, in many respects, where we left off. We just finished setting up Culture Commentary 6. That was our Culture Commentary playlist, the category specific playlist, starting at the beginning of the third quarter of 2024. So specifically for July, we're starting in July 2024. What we're doing now is we're going in and we're building out our temporal playlists for Thursday, week 1. It's interesting. We kind of got a little sidetracked here because we're seeing that we have to add some stuff into the description. What is that? July 4th? Where was that at? Wednesday was the 3rd. July 4th was, yep, July 4th of weekend 1. Okay, that's good. Okay, so, and yeah, in many respects, this is kind of the arduous process, right? Like how do you start? When do you start? Why do you start? And to what extent? In this context, we're doing, okay, so we're saying, started with this, got that, we included some previous and post, then we included that, and then we used that for the previous day. So the previous day had that as an aspect of recognition. Okay, so we're good. Okay, so let's continue. Yeah, there was a Bitcoin dump. It was a little bit wild. But that's the cryptocurrency markets for you. It's funny to frame it like that, the cryptocurrency markets, as opposed to just, the Bitcoin markets. But maybe that's a little bit more philosophical. Yeah, the state space model, I'm really interested to dive into that a little bit more consciously. How does the state space model work? And what's going on with that? Yeah, this is also, in terms of playlist theory, this is also a benefit depending on how many subscriptions you have from completing this process on desktop as opposed to mobile. You might find yourself scrolling for days on mobile thinking, okay, so wait, did we find the right playlist? Like, how are we doing this? At least on desktop we can search for a number or a phrase. Okay, but we're gonna have to do this quicker than assumed at the outset because we're kind of running low on time. So let's practice a blitz. Okay, check. This is relatively arbitrary, but for our category specific involving crypto and fintech in relation to financialization, we included, okay, crypto 5, that's our ongoing category specific in relation to the cryptocurrency markets. So crypto 5 is category specific. 5A is our derivative playlist that's anchored by the modern investor. We view this as a reflection of fundamental analysis based on paying attention to what's going on in the news, what's being published in many respects. Crypto 5B is anchored by Eric Crown Crypto. That's mostly technical analysis focused. And then Crypto 5C is a larger bucket. Sometimes we think of it as culture commentary. Sometimes we think of it as a podcast. Various things. Okay. So this is an instance where I'm like, oh, normally we would full sail this because it would probably make sense in terms of culture commentary, but the titling is too non-specific that I don't know how to place it to the extent that I would place it. But I'm like, no. Since it's not clear enough, I don't think we necessarily have the time to pre-clear it or to consume it, and to that extent, we probably just downregulate it. This is interesting. We haven't really been publishing too much to that extent that we don't see our own content in our subscription box, but this is a nice occurrence. That is a signal we weren't really speaking. We didn't have any live audio. That was quite fascinating. Okay, Thursday. Okay, so it was that. Last week. Oh, Anubis Caves. What is this? Yeah, I do like some historical culture commentary. I do find that fascinating. Again, sometimes some circumstances like this make me think, okay, so wait, what? Why? Because I feel as though, okay, since I'm placing this in a temporal playlist, it almost relieves a little bit of surface area with regards to how I might place other videos within specific playlists. Actually, would I include? No, it would get a little bit too messy. But in terms of playlist theory for content curators, content consumers, I would definitely. Well, no, you should work on a strat to think about how and/or why would you include this. Most people don't publish it enough to not include it, so you probably always include it if you were making playlists in general or specific, but you definitely want to think about that, right? Would you, for me, we don't make all of these public, so we would have one where it's like all of them versus the ones that are public versus when we actually are giving technique in terms of, okay, so what is a category specific versus a temporal playlist versus a static playlist versus a dynamic playlist, and we would go into like those as points of differentiation. 15 videos, okay, again, so what would we do? We would say, okay, so how much longer do we have to go? It's a lot. Okay, there we go, that's that. Okay, so this is all the content for this specific day. That's not too bad in the slightest. I'm actually looking forward to this one. Microbial Matters, number 46. Parsley, sage, color, and thyme. Cool. Okay, monetary policy for the 21st century. Yeah, hell yeah, important. Is that financial liquidity of the markets? Yeah. Macro outlook. Tricky. Would we add this to this one? Yes? No, it seems too macro. I don't know. Again, it's an interesting point of distinction in terms of, like, how long would I actually spend to think about that as a consideration. That's, in many respects, what makes a great content curator. Spending time to parse through those distinctions. Why exactly would you or would you not include or exclude any given heuristic? This is interesting in terms of content curation. We discovered this when I think we were looking at massage videos or something about body conditioning, because we had something like a pinched nerve in our lower back or our shoulder, and it was actually kind of wild. Oh no, what the hell? Wrong one. And we found this to be interesting. We were like, yo, we should add this. We should subscribe and add this. It's interesting to think about, because what is this? This would be a biohacking adjacent channel versus body conditioning. It's interesting in the wake of ChatGPT as well to think about, though we actually haven't seen a lot of content from the biohackers coming out saying like, oh, yo, we found some new gene editing stuff or stuff like that. Deploying CRISPR. Okay. Yo, this right here, Culture Commentary 6B. Was this Richard Hoagland?
When you break down...
Yeah, William Hoagland had a new book, The Hamilton Scheme, an epic tale of money and power in the American founding. That was a great piece of content. Okay, so where are we at? 20 videos. Okay, about halfway there. What else? Okay. This was interesting in terms of the macro liquidity of the markets. And this also makes me think, okay, so wait, how do we also dip into gotta put that in politics for. How do we distinguish and differentiate? Right, because I put this video into this as a specific temporal playlist, but I also put it into a different category specific playlist, but I actually want to consume it. So if it piques my interest to a certain extent where like FOMO is invoked or it's necessary, then it would go into the ASAP playlist for the quarter, where we still don't know whether, okay, you've watched it in there, and that means after you've watched it, you delete it because it exists in other places, versus it's a really important fixture as a reflection of your consume digest for a specific time. So that's a little bit of theory in terms of how we're trying to manage this space as a content creator, as a content consumer, first and foremost. This is an interesting one because I'm curious, but I don't know how to place it. Like, yeah, a liquid cooler. I'm like, yeah, that's fire, but like, how do I categorize a liquid cooler? Like, how hot does technology get before you need a liquid cooler? Oh, the roundup for June. Whenever we put this in ASAP 11. But again, thoughts for your consideration, right? This is just me kind of sharing my process flows as I chart out the initial conceptualization. Stop. Let's stop and say, like, what is actually going on here? Like, what's the point of this? The point is me proving to myself, projecting it for others, and saying, okay, there's space within the cybernetic ecology of YouTube for content curators. Full stop. But what does that mean, and what's the value proposition? Oh, hey guys, I have a playlist. Here, I have a playlist. What does that even mean? So for me, it's about bridging the gap in 3 points of directionality. First and foremost, that for me as a content consumer, this needs to get done point blank, period, because perceiving the surface area of this is almost as valuable as having access to a playlist that would contain it in and of itself. Except the playlist does not have the surface area of everything that's been left out of my subscription box. That's what makes it a valuable experience to just comb through my subscription box. And as a content creator, that's why I'm sharing it with you. Why I'm spending the time to describe those distinctions, what I would be doing in my normal capacity as a content consumer. As a top line, right? Like, we actually haven't even like done on a formal analysis of content consumption, like really kind of making an attempt to peel back the layers and to describe, like, hey, like, what are we talking about? What's going on? How do we even parse this information? And saying, like, there's valuable technique that we can bring forth as a content curator, but at the same time we're still working it out. Is that a truism? To what extent is that valid? Is that useful? Okay, so we continue. And we're saying the technique that we're describing here. Yeah, and that's I lost train of thought. But yeah, let's just focus on the task at hand. Okay, where are we at? Okay, so sometimes when you lose track, it's like I'll start like dipping back and I'm like, we lost the train. But okay, we're here. And then we're like, okay. an interesting exchange by the White House Communications Department, doing the best that they can under the considerations. Now this merits a little bit of a qualification. Oh, in the post-COVID era, how do we even how do we make sense of it all? All I know is that there's still artifacts from that era that I still pay attention to. But I guess as a content creator, we would have to tell our story. Like, how do we relate to the global narrative in terms of what transpired, and also how we got here to today with regards to the reactions that people have. Okay, do we have too many videos? 24.
The first of which I've called The Invention of Race, and the second Transcending Race. And this first film has 2 sections. Each section has 3 parts, and the first section is The Invention of Race, with parts called Positioning Malik and His Argument, The Invention of Race, and Race as Power and Politics.
Oh, did we click on that? Oh my gosh, we made a mistake, guys. We were entranced by YouTube. Yeah, we were so entranced that we forgot that when we click out, we always have to add a new tab. Cannot just. But that was interesting. Yeah, content such as that is definitely in our wheelhouse. What's going on here? Okay. We're just floating. Hey guys. Hey, what's going on? No, we're just floating here. Yeah? Alright, I'll be right back. We will pick this up. Hello and welcome back. Okay, we were just in the middle of a little bit of production troubleshooting. We squared away some of the issues that were pertaining. Next, we're gonna pick up where we left off. Okay, so what would we do? We would just refresh the transit playlist just to make sure all things are squared away. Okay, about 30 videos, so less than 20 videos to add. Okay, we continue scrolling through the subscription box. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, so we lost the thread. Yeah, so sometimes if you're jumping in and out, you might actually experience that as an issue. Okay, this was a wild thing. Wait, remove from downloads. Okay. So we would include that. Should we? 2025. I mean, it's kind of crazy just the floating it. But yeah, that's where we're at into is politics. Okay. We need to actually really need to blast through on this one. Okay, we gotta add this to social science. And to be frank, we might end up adding this to culture commentary 6. But that would be after we have started to consume it. So I guess that as a reflection would elevate it to, right? 'Cause like, I can think that I am making space to remember a hypergraph reference, but placing it into an ASAP playlist really concretizes, okay, well, we will make sure we view it, right? Like, I might put this in a temporal playlist, but after this gets, after we organize this and then publish this into the main playlist, we don't necessarily, unless it's specifically for content, or it gets archived as an indexing heuristic. We have yet to figure out the best case for, okay, so wait, how do we make sure we continue to consume these aspects of content over time? So yeah, in this case, we need to change the meta a little bit. What are we doing? We're saying, okay, whatever we have been doing, we're gonna have to speed this up. I caught a little bit of this. I think we played it in the background. It was pretty good. Interesting in terms of culture commentary. Shout out to Theory Underground. Hurricane Burl. Wild. Normally we like to wait for compilations from Anton. Definitely going into a culture commentary derivative playlist. We have to check back in with Hood Mystic and see what he's up to. Yeah, this really was a hit piece. We actually consumed. Oh my gosh, that's so too many videos. We're gonna have to clean this later. Oh yeah, we're totally gonna have to. Yeah, we'll have to save that for another video. What goes into that process of differentiating and okay, what merits keeping these videos in this playlist versus anything else? This is about history, posterity, and usefulness. Yeah, it makes me think of, yeah, I do want to process that in real time. So yeah, we'll definitely have to save that for another video. Thank you all for being here. Wait, what were we saying about this one? Yeah, it was a hit piece. I mean, so much so that it actually merits its place within culture commentary. At this point, I think we need a derivative playlist for what is this? Yeah, we're just about to hit the 300 video mark. What's actually in this playlist? This started off as we had an OpenAI / First Mover playlist. Where it was like that initial breakout condition. Yeah, we totally need a video on this. And then we were like, okay, let's include some other stuff. Wait, what is this? Sort by date at its newest. Okay. So yeah, so this started with like culture commentary, like, oh, yo, like what's going on? We need like the Doomers were like showing up on the in the hypergraph streets. And then yeah, this is interesting. This is content in and of itself. This is 9 months ago. This is what this looks like. I'm like in this state of content curation. It's interesting, but it's also not. This is not where I'm supposed to be, but we do need to actually look through this. Yeah, this makes me think about how we approach content. Because as a content creator, we've been assuming that we would take the time to go through these as entries, but we would actually make that content specific, like make it a specific video. When we do live streams and then we publish them, they go into the live stream section. So just in terms of YouTube as a cybernetic ecology, for me, that's different. That's a distinction. That's not classic YouTube. It's live streaming. But in terms of efficiency, I'm much more likely to be able to go through some of our playlists using that approach, as opposed to if we just decided, hey, when should we yeah, we should make a playlist. When should we do that? And also, that's another thing. Since we have, since we turned off our watch history, we don't actually always remember to include those things. Okay, okay, that was pretty good. So that was a little bit of culture commentary flair. But again, we finished this now, so yeah, we're gonna, we're gonna have to really think about how we're using our ASAP Transit playlists, because we use the ASAP Transit play. I mean, that's why it's titled an ASAP Transit, or excuse me, an ASAP playlist, as soon as possible. Not for forever, posterity. Temporal playlists are about posterity. This is just about, okay, fill it or kill it. But if we look at our historical register, specifically with regards to, what is this, ASAP 11, then that was its own experience. Here, let's sort by date added oldest, and then we go in. Wait, could I no-hand it? Wait, it's too fast, too fast. I wonder what this looks like on desktop, on mobile. But yeah, this was ASAP 11. Again, leave a comment if you're ever consuming this and you're like, okay, well, do it again, but next time slow it down. It's a little bit too quick. Versus, yeah, thanks for doing it quick, because otherwise you probably would not display this playlist. And if someone is consuming this, like, oh yeah, thank you, because at least I can pause the video and take a look at some of the thumbnails to kind of, you know, oh hey, I'm consuming this. But again, this is for a whole quarter, Q2 2024. This was, in many respects, my consume digest. So much of this I haven't even been able to consume. But it represents a real aspect of the surface area of my consume digest. So right now we're just going to talk through it. We're going to wait. We're going to complete this whole thing. We're running up against not a hard stop, but we're coming up on the 2-hour mark. And we almost finished Thursday, so we're gonna also finish Friday, and then we're gonna be out of here. Alright. Forget why that was necessary, but we don't, it's been a while, and slasher, we haven't actually done like a playlist highlight video. So I figured, why not show off ASAP 11.0? Okay, that was good, that was good. Okay, so we need to move quickly. Anything with Meister Eckhart, you know? Definitely gotta put that into Young Religion. Probably 5A as well. So maybe this is an aspect of technique that we can highlight. What specifically? Well, we're saying that, okay, it's in a ASAP, it's also it's in a transit, it's in an ASAP, it's in a category specific derivative. And it's also in a bucket. Yeah, that should be good.
Calling you a radical, so.
Okay, that's July 5th. Nah, it's going into the other day. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we pretty much just finished the playlist for the day. Now we're gonna figure out, okay, so which ones do we add in? Okay, so let's add these two. So what are we saying? What are we doing? Okay, we just finished the curation process for Thursday. Okay, we're gonna remove this out of Thursday. Okay, we just finished the curation process for Thursday. We have our buffer, specifically ready to speech. It's a temporal buffer. We also use Aircrown Crypto. They publish the same times every day, so this creates the demarcation line that separates one day from another day. Using the assortment of videos as a reflection of that, we use it as our anchor, and we start the new day by labeling our playlist. Specifically, we're talking about an ASAP transit playlist. Okay, so what are we talking about in this context? Well, yeah, we're talking about the ASAP transit playlist, but again, I'm talking about my process flow for content curation itself. So after this day, Thursday, now we find a video that's the demarcation for the specific date. The next day in question, Friday, Q3 2024. We copy and paste the title just because I like this schema. It's simple, it's easy, I can use that. And then deploy that. Remember, it always starts with a title. It's, eventually, as you get buttressed up against the backdrop of the playlist that you begin to lose because they drop off, It's important to kind of get a handle on your playlist titling schema before you run into the 200 playlist limit in terms of your viewable area before you have to go into the YouTube studio to add videos to those playlists that fall off. Okay, so we started with the title. Playlist has been created. Now we continue. Okay, so what do we want to do? Yeah. Throw in crown. Historical culture commentary in terms of the cryptocurrency markets, specifically with regards to Bitcoin in terms of technical analysis. And this turned out to be June the 5th? July? Yeah, July the 5th. Okay, so now that we kind of have that as a backdrop, attention, nah, just the temporal. So what are we saying, what are we doing? Now we would go here and we would copy the description. Why is this important? For a content consumer, you know, truthfully it might not be important. For a content creator though, we actually, okay, so you have a ASAP Transit playlist for a temporal playlist, this being an example of a temporal playlist, a finished example of a temporal playlist. For us as a content curator, we're moving videos from our subscription box, our consume digest, and we're placing them into an ASAP Transit playlist. So after this is done, like this is done for Thursday is pretty much done, but in between moving this video into the actual temporal playlist, in between that process, we might structure this playlist. Why? Because it's a dynamic playlist. Why? I don't know, technique? I mean, what does it mean to be a content curator? I mean, we're still figuring this out. It's an experimentation, right? But why it's relevant is because for content consumers, I mean, what is content? What is content consumption? For me personally, as a content consumer, the surface area of consume, that means something to me. So when you present content as a form of stratigraphy, right? Like this could just be a static playlist, right? And that would mean something as a reflection of this specific temporal cross-section of time. But in relation to playlist theory for content curators, we have the opportunity, as a result of the cybernetic ecology of YouTube, just based on how they craft their user interface, to change the sort by date. And in so doing, that creates a different surface area for one to consume the content that you've curated, whether that be by date published, whether that be by most popular, or whether that be by date added. The date added function is useful because this allows us to really make it a dynamic playlist, because instead of just doing it temporally or as it's published or whatever, as we place it into this playlist, versus if we just put it into the original playlist as a one-to-one, we can structure this, and based on the technique offered, it allows us to make that a dynamic playlist. Why? Because even though we change the sort by date, the stratigraphy stays the same, or at least hopefully. Again, a few bugs here and there, but we've found that if we change the sort by date to date added oldest in the anchor playlist, and then we refresh after we structure it, then we can transfer it over, and the stratigraphy remains in terms of date added, but we also, in terms of, as a content consumer, we also get the surface area of perceiving the playlist and consuming the playlist, not just from this specific directionality as if it was a static playlist, but also if we want to change it to most popular, to see how are people actually consuming this content in the platform at large. And then we can go into date published, like, so what's the historical in terms of, what is it called, like the collective consciousness, collective unconscious, like what is actually being published, when, and why, and how can you kind of get a sense of that in terms of breaking news, in terms of, oh wow, this was published when, in relation to what. So again, we're describing this and we're talking about this in the context of playlist theory, in the context of playlist theory for content creators. Why is it for creators? Well, in between moving videos from my subscription box to this ASAP Transit playlist, surely we can change the stratigraphy to the extent that that's, value add in relation to it being a dynamic playlist. But for content creators, we also, after we do that next step, that previous step, we take this and we move it to a different monitor, and then we slowly scroll down while we are zoomed in at about 150. And we can make a short out of that, right? We just took a random ASAP Transit playlist for a specific day, and we converted it into a short. So that's just a little bit of technique that we're experimenting with in terms of how we think about playlist theory, in terms of making sense of whether or not, it's even possible to build upon the technique of being a content curator within the cybernetic ecology of YouTube, and what that entails. And it's crazy, right? As a content consumer, I would just be, okay, so I need to check out my subscription box, like what's being published. And then I'm like, I have to actually consume this. It's in a transit, okay, let's consume this. But then as a creator, we're like, but wait, okay, I'm actually live streaming right now, whole T, is this valid? And actually, this brings me back to what was this? Oh, I'll wait for it. Oh, we're missing it. Crap, we actually have to find that. What we're talking about specifically, wait, let's see if we can find that. Specifically what we're talking about is playlist theory as a consumer, as a curator. No, we're talking about as a content creator. And actually discovered, I was like, wait, we took off a few weeks and we were like, let's actually not curate, because that takes time and energy and effort. So we took a few weeks off, and then we were like, dang, but I felt a gap, oh my goodness, we're missing out on our consume digest. What about all the content that's been published? How do I gain access to that? How do we tap into that? So what we ended up doing was we ended up going back to those videos that we had not consumed, and we went through our subscription box and we decided, okay, let's record our subscription box for the last 2 weeks. And this is the result of that. And this was a crazy experience for me, because it was like, wait, what? I had never really done this in terms of as a content creator, to actually record my subscription box, but then to actually publish it. So as a consumer, I was like, oh, I missed out on 2 weeks, but now I have access to that 2 weeks, and I can actually perceive what was going on in terms of my consume digest. But as a creator, I was like, wait, is this a new pillar? Can we actually use this as content? This is valuable to me. To what extent could this be valuable for random content consumers out there just looking for content, or trying to understand how we think about a consume, digest, or the value of a subscription box. So again, we definitely need to take time to publish this, but this was a really this was a side tangent, definitely a side tangent. I need to finish wrapping this up. Thursday we finished that, but then there was a hook at the end, so we were like, okay, let's add that differently. And then we were like, okay, so we titled this, and then we corrected the date so that when we organize it, it can be more specific. Okay, wait. Okay, so let's add that. A little bit of KB. Again, in terms of this as a process flow, yeah, sometimes when you scroll back, it's really important that you really, because you can get trapped in scrolling back and then trying to figure out, where did I leave? Did I make a mistake? Did I leave some blah 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 blah? But okay, time. Okay, we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. We might actually end up taking a break. Ergs. Hold up, I'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to As an Aggregator. We just finished discussing the beginning of this stream, Culture Commentary 6. We created a new category-specific playlist for Culture Commentary. And we talked about that, and we walked through the steps and the thought process behind that. And then we finished our transit playlist for week 1 of the third quarter of 2024. And now we're on Friday. So we're actually going to do a speed run. Okay, let's see how fast we can jump through Friday for Q3. What are we gonna do? Okay, let's refresh this. We have our demarcation lines. Okay, we have the content that was included. Okay. 3, 2, 1, begin. Okay, so this is gonna be a speed run. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Haystack, challenge the long context. Been hearing interesting things about Moshi. Oh, that's interesting. It's 2 different videos. Oh, interesting. Yeah, some people like to make sure to include a video in published as opposed to just streaming. Very interesting. So if we check our time, we're at about 2 minutes. Okay, how much more? Gotta do that? Okay. Scroll back too far. There we go. Hurricane Burl Culture Commentary. Blockchain Culture Commentary, specifically with regards to Bitcoin. current Hurricane Burl. Yeah, we actually do like to include weather content as culture commentary. We find that to be unique and interesting. Where does content about the labor market go? Normally we would think about it in terms of financialization, but we don't this is not really built for that playlist. But I'm thinking, like, why don't we actually have a better playlist schema to account for these things? But I guess that's why we use Crypto 5C. Okay, so where are we at with time? We are about 8 minutes in. 8 minutes in. Okay. Okay, let's refresh that and keep it moving. 21 videos so far, okay. Again, we're definitely gonna have to go back in and even out some of those videos. What is this? Macro, yeah, macro investment technique? Question mark. Do we put this in Esoteric 5B or Natural Science 5C? That's a question. Yeah, we'll throw it into 5C just to... just for some technical variety. Interesting. Yeah, we're getting papyrus that can be read a little bit more efficiently. space junk falling on people's houses. Okay, so where are we at with time? We're about 13 minutes, just shy of 14. Making pretty good timing though. It's close.
Okay, let's go to some.
Okay, we're actually gonna save that for the next video. Okay, so we made it in 18 minutes. Let's pause that. That was pretty good. We made it 18 minutes in 40 videos. Okay, so that wraps up pretty much the last 3 hours. What did we do? We worked on Culture Commentary 6. We built out our newest entry in our category-specific playlists, Culture Commentary number 6. And then we worked on Thursday and Friday in terms of the new quarter. So this is week 1 for Q3 2024. And we finished Monday. We finished Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And we finished Thursday and Friday. So in the next entry, we're going to structure these playlists before we publish them into the main Temporal playlist. Okay, so thank you. If you've consumed this content, I want to thank you for taking this time out of your day to think about technique in relation to content curation, content consumption, playlist theory with regards to content consumers, playlist theory with regards to content creators, and playlist theory with regard to content curators. Enjoy the rest of your day, week, evening, afternoon, and/or morning.